society, they come back to jail in much too large numbers. That means that when people leave jail, they need to have the education and the job training they need so they don't get caught up in the same environment which got them into jail in the first place. This campaign is talking to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. And what they are saying is that they are tired of living in fear, living under the shadows. They want and need a path toward citizenship. This campaign is talking to people in the Native American community. I don't have to explain to anybody here that the way our country from day one has treated Native Americans is obscene. And those problems continue today. I talked to some Native American leaders in Minnesota last week. 50% of their kids today are dropping out of school, high school. Alcoholism is rampant. Poverty is off the charts. Young people are killing themselves. Drug addiction is widespread. For those people who were here first, we owe them respect and dignity. We've got to change our knows how real change comes about. It never comes about from the top on down. It always comes from the bottom on up. Here in the Midwest, 100 years ago or longer, workers said to their employers, "We will not be treated like animals. We need dignity." They stood, they fought, they were beaten up, they were jailed, they were on picket lines to form unions. So that they could engage in collective bargaining, earn decent wages and decent benefits. That's how change takes place. Change took place and takes place in the civil rights movement when the African American community and their white allies said loudly, "No, this country will not continue racism, segregation, and bigotry." And millions of people. A 100 years ago today, women did not have the right to vote. They did not have the right to go to many schools or do the jobs that they wanted to do. 100 years ago, not a long time in history. And yet women and their male allies said, sorry, women in this country will not continue to be second-class citizens. If we were in this room 10 years ago, and I'm talking about how real change takes place, if we were in this room 10 years ago, which is no time at all from a historical perspective, somebody jumped up and said, I think gay marriage will be made legal in 50 states in this country in the year 2015. The person next to him would have said, what are you smoking? Which raises another interesting issue. So what happened? And this is what change is about. It's the most important point I think I can make to you. What happened is the gay community and their straight allies said, you know what? In America, and believe me, against enormous opposition and hatred, The gay community said, in this country, people should have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of gender. And today, and you cannot appreciate how rapidly that transformation has taken place. Today you go to high schools in my state or in my conservative areas, and you ask kids about gay marriage, and they say, what's the issue? We don't know the issues. That's what a revolutionary change is about. And I'll give you another example, even more contemporary. If we were here 7 years ago, and somebody jumped up and said, Bernie, this $7.25 an hour minimum wage is a disaster. I was in Detroit a couple of years ago, and I talked to young people working at McDonald's. These were adults, some of them had kids. $7.25 an hour, 20 hours a week, got on a bus, went to a different McDonald's, trying to make a living. Now, 7, 8 years ago, somebody said, we got to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. People would say, are you crazy? That's doubling the minimum wage. We can't. That's just too radical an idea. But you know what happened? Because people in the fast food industry, at McDonald's, at Burger King, at Wendy's, all these places, they stood up and they fought back. And you know what happened? A couple of years ago in Seattle, $15 an hour minimum wage. In San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Oregon, $15 an hour minimum wage. And that's what we have to do nationally. So what is my point? My point is that an idea, whether it is civil rights and the idea, just another example, again, you take it for granted, but don't. If we were here 40 years ago and somebody said, in 2008, we're going to elect an African American as president of the United States, nobody would have believed it. Nothing to do with you like Obama, you don't like Obama. It is the fact that the American people overcame centuries of racism and said, we're going to vote for somebody based on his ideas and not the color of his skin. And so my point is that when my opponent or anybody else says, Bernie's a nice guy, but he's thinking too big, making public colleges and universities tuition free. That is a crazy idea. It is not a crazy idea. We can make it happen. And mark my words. If millions of students and young people demand it, it will happen. And 20 years from now, some guy or woman will be up here and she'll say, 20 years ago, public colleges and universities weren't tuition free. And people go, that's crazy. How could that be? That's how change comes about. Have a vision. Be prepared to stand up and fight for what is right. I want to just say a few words about some of the significant differences between Secretary Clinton and myself. Number one, and this is a very profound difference. Secretary Clinton has a number of super PACs. In the last reporting period, her largest super PAC collected $15 million from Wall Street. Now, every politician in the world, Democrat or Republican, always says, yes, I get all this money from Wall Street and the drug companies and the fossil fuel industry. Doesn't impact me. It doesn't really matter. Well, then the question that we have to ask is, if it doesn't matter, why are these people pouring millions of dollars into your campaign? Now, there's There's a lot that I can say about the greed and recklessness and fraudulent behavior of Wall Street, but what I will also say is they are not dumb. They do not throw their money around for no reason at all. Second of all, Secretary Clinton has given major speeches behind closed doors to Wall Street, receiving $225,000 a speech. Now, what I think is, if you're going to get paid $225,000 for a speech to Wall Street, it must be a really fantastic speech. And it's surely a speech you're going to want to share with the American people, right?